Hey guys, so I'm starting today's process video with this Stamping Up crinkled kind of paper. It's a textured kind of paper, and I've seen a lot of videos where people use it very successfully. I just happen to not be one of those people, and you'll see as we go on what I'm talking about. But I'm determined right now that I'm going to use it, so it's sitting down there on the layout. I get this entire layout done with that paper in place, and then when I go to put the layout in my scrapbook, I actually tear all of that off, so it's kind of a wasted step here, but whatever. So that's some hex vellum paper that I did adhere down to the gray cardstock, and like I said, I'm using scraps from a Studio Calico kit. I don't remember which month. I made this layout quite a long time ago. So of course, I put that piece of paper. I want to use that as a photo mat, that seafoam green paper, and I, of course, put it down wrong. So that's the way it goes. This is also this is washi tape. It's a wide washi tape with a gray and black chevron on it. It may be white and black, but it's looking gray up against that gray back, the background paper. So I added some of that and I laid it down there so it didn't span the full 12 inches of the background paper. And then I changed my mind and I'm actually going to put it so that it extends past that whole 12 the whole 12 inches of the layout. So I'm just using, like I said, this is a very scrap heavy layout. I'm just pulling all kinds of scraps out of the kits that I have laying there, and I'm going to use some of this basic gray washi tape. I eventually will use it. I decide not to use it there, but I'm just going through everything that I have left over from the kit, and so I have some of these strips, branding strips left over that have patterns on the back, and just a bunch of other things. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going through what I have left of the kit, just trying to use it up. And I decide that this here needs a punch. This scrap here, I decide that I'm going to give it some texture and use a border punch on it, and I actually don't use that piece of paper on this layout at all. So that's how that goes. Sometimes that's how it goes. Now I pulled out my scraps of yellow paper so I can find some other things that are going to work with this layout. Teal, gray, and yellow are not a set of colors that I use together all the time, and that may be why I'm not liking this layout much at all. Like, I don't even like the finished product, but this was the this was the layout that I had queued up for doing the voiceover before I left for vacation, which you guys know has been a long time ago. And so it was already queued up, so I figured, well, I'll just finish it now. Just to get something up on the little YouTube channel, because I've been lax with that lately. I pulled the branding strip off of this sort of end note die cut paper, and then I'm using my Making Memories, what do you call them, files, to get those little nubs off there. And see this? I'm going to pull that gray washi tape up, that chevron washi tape up, and then that one actually won't come up, so I'm going to have to play around with that a little bit to get it to extend that whole 12 inches on the page. But that's what I am intending to do. And then I decide, because that EndNote paper has that very distinct center point, that I need to center my photo on the page. And again, that's not something that I do a lot. I like to put things in corners, and not at the exact center of the page. So the design for this layout, I mean, it's a little off, but what are you gonna do? So here's where I decide that I'm going to put that chevron washi tape across the whole 12 inches of the paper. And I'm going to do that on the top and the bottom. And I'm going to just slide it under the rest of this stuff because I really wanted it at the top of the bottom. And it's good that I did this now because, like I said, after I finished shooting this video and I went to put that layout in my scrapbook, I tore that crinkle paper off. So now all that's viewable is the chevron washi tape and that hex vellum from Studio Calico. So, and as you can see, I still have that one cutout part of that seafoam green paper. And what's funny about that seafoam green paper is eventually, as I'm looking at the final layout, is eventually I cover it up or don't use it at all either. I'm going to pull that picture off of that photo mat. I'm going to decide I don't need it. I don't know when, but at some point I'm going to decide I don't need that photo mat. Because see, right now I still have it justified to the left, to the right, and I'm going to pick it back up and put it back in the center because it was throwing me off that you have that one point, that one point in that endnote design that's pointing downward and it's very central on the page. And so I'm going to eventually pick this back up and realize that that picture also needs to be centered. Just cutting up some more scraps here and trying to figure out my layers. I struggled with this layout a lot, as you can see here, going back and forth with all of the different papers that I pulled out. And what I should have done from the beginning is just gone with what I knew I wanted. I was trying really hard to make that crinkled paper work and then realized that it wouldn't. So I was just really trying to use it, and then I should have stopped fighting and just decided at that point that I was not going to use it. I'm looking at some border strips here, thinking about adding some border strips. I don't end up using any of this. Some layouts just come together so easily, and then other layouts, it's just a darn struggle, and you just have to push through it. And it's funny now because I look at this layout in the book, and I actually like it, but in the middle of making this layout, I was just aggravated with the whole thing. Here, I put this felt thing down. That's from my mind's eye. I think I'm going to use that, and I don't. Because still, I'm looking at this, and what is throwing me off is the positioning of that photo. I'm going to even put my title down here, and this doesn't stay here either. There we go. At some point, I'm going to realize that that picture needs to be in the center of that EndNote design. I don't need any of these border strips. I'm going to put that all back. It's pretty funny to watch these months after making the layout, and I mean I see the layout in the book now and I really like it, but at this point, and with, as you can see, with that paper down at the bottom is just awful. So I think right here I'm gonna decide that I don't want that background. Yep, and I just cut it off. Whatever. I actually don't leave it. I think it may stay on the photo, like, but I think I cut all of the, oh, okay, I just rip it off. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work. Just get rid of it. I used my corner chomper to round the corners of that one piece of paper because everything was kind of boxy. Like there's crosshatch like on that yellow paper, and then there's the chevron, and everything was looking very square. So I just wanted to round off that one piece, and it'll come back in a second. Here it comes. I just rounded that off just to kind of give the layout a little bit more, like to soften those edges just a little bit because it was a little crazy. I'm starting, now that I figured out that the photo has to be in the center of that EndNote design, and that's what was really bothering me, the layout is starting to come together now. So a lot of the layers that you're seeing now are the layers that are going to be on the final layout. So here I am pasting it all down. Got several pieces of paper going on there. Just the scraps from that Studio Calico kit. Because the bottom of that photo is laying on several layers of paper and the top of it wasn't, I put foam adhesive under the top of the photo. And then I'm actually going to pull that out too because I feel like then it throws the photo all off. I mean, it's just one of them layouts. And while I'm watching this, while we're all watching this and finishing up the layering here and just pulling scraps of paper to add some color in different places, I want to apologize for being gone so long. I went on vacation and then I got in this kind of funk where I just didn't want a scrapbook. And then my husband, then work got really, really busy. So there's where I'm going to take that foam adhesive off. And then work got crazy busy, so I didn't want to spend the weekends doing anything other than sort of relaxing because I was so exhausted from work. And then Stu got furloughed because he works for the government, so that was fun. So it's been, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggling kind of couple of months. I mean, I'm obviously fine, but it's just been. So I appreciate all of your concerned emails and all of that. And I'm sorry that I left y'all hanging and haven't had a video up in a while. I'll try to do better about that. But I will tell you that if you're what I'm going to start doing is if you want any updates about where I am, and if a couple days have gone by and I haven't uploaded a video or something like that, I would encourage you, if you have Twitter, or just to bookmark my Twitter page, and I will keep that up to date so you guys know that YouTube doesn't give me a really good place to like send out a message unless I'm doing a video, and there aren't a lot of people that go over to my blog, which is fine. Because basically I just keep the blog for myself. So I will, if something happens and I don't post for a while, I will put something up on Twitter so that you guys can know that, I haven't fallen off the face of the earth or something like that. So that's what I'll do. I'm using those basic gray vellum stars and pieces that came in that Studio Calico kit just to add some color around this photo. And I really like those basic gray vellum, sort of vellum, like washi tape strips, but I really wish they hadn't cut them up into, like, the stars are okay, but they had like lots of photo corners and like circles and things that I couldn't figure out a way to use. So it was just kind of weird. But so basically this entire layout was made from scraps except for that gray background paper. And now I'm just using the vellum, sort of, it's kind of vellum, it's kind of like washi tape. And then I'm going to use some more, I'm going to use some, what is this, what color would you call that? It's like a light blue, like a turquoise blue or something, baby blue. Washi tape there just to give it, and it has chevrons on it, but the chevrons are running in the chevrons on the gray and the white are vertical, they're going up and down. The chevrons on that light blue washi tape are going sideways, going horizontally. So I'm turn them upside down so that all of the chevrons are pointing in towards the photo. So that gives your eye like direction, so that, I'm pointing out the photo, because the photo being in the middle of the page is actually not one of the places where your eye would just distinctly look. Wouldn't just, without you telling it to look there. The eye would not focus right there. The center of the page is a tricky place to do that because of the rule of thirds and things like that. So I'm labeling this, I'm titling this "Oh Brother." I had a little bit more washi tape in a couple of places just to balance out that blue color, and I actually put the washi tape underneath the word brother because I just didn't want it floating, basically. I'm gonna use some liquid glue to lay my to put my layers down a little bit better. I didn't put a lot of adhesive. I'm trying not to put adhesive underneath my layers so much in case I want to tuck things underneath. So that's why at the end sometimes I will use liquid glue and just kind of make sure that it's not going anywhere. I'm going to use a Martha Stewart pen, I believe. Yes, I am, to do some journaling on here, and all the journaling's talking about is that Mason was doing what he does best, and that's aggravating his sister. And then I just added the comment, but don't worry, she gets him back, because she totally does. I'm gonna look for some word stickers here on these. I own like every one of these that ever came out, and I just bought more. It's a sickness. I'm looking through them all. I'm going to use none of them. I'm looking at, first I go through and I look at colors, like, are the colors going to match? And then I look at the words. So I was happy with the colors, but then, I completely apologize. I do use that one right there that says date. I use that. And I used the yellow one with the sort of label kind of thing on it, but I layered it under date so you can't really see it. This is from the basic gray sticker sheet that came in that Studio Calico kit, and I'm going to put it up on some foam adhesive. It's like this little banner shape. I'm going to put that above that label that says date, and then I'm going to take some small stickers, some small alpha stickers in gray, and I'm going to put M&M on there. I call them my M&Ms. M&Ms are coming over, that kind of thing. They are my M&Ms. And they go back and forth. Someday she's the plain one, someday she's the nutty one, and then they switch. And now I'm going to put the date on. I'm gonna stamp remember this on the on that one. There you go. You can see it. That's an Amy Tan. No, that's Dear Lizzie, phrase roller stamp. And then I'm using Stampin' Up some kind of gray ink. What's it called? Basic gray. And what's bothering me right now is the top of that paper looks very plain, and then there's only that one rounded corner. So I'm going to round the other corner. And then what you're going to see me do is use a stamp that I got from Cocoa Daisy. I believe it's a Cocoa Daisy stamp I'm going to use. And I'm going to add dots to the top of this layout because the plain gray, I don't use basic cardstock that often for backgrounds. I typically use pattern paper. So when there's this big expanse of blank, no pattern, just, blank cardstock, I don't know, it looks very empty and lonely and sad to me. So I'm going to use this stamp I got from Cocoa Daisy, which is supposed to mirror like what would happen if you splattered it. And obviously I didn't want to splatter it because the photo was there, and I didn't want to mess these things up. So I used some sticky notes that I got for Christmas last year that have a little Santa on them. I'm using that basic gray Stampin' Up ink, and I'm just going to stamp these dots randomly on top of this layout. And in retrospect, I probably wish I didn't do this. I probably wish I had just left it blank and not added these random. There's just too many of them. I mean, when you do paint splatters, as you can see, that it doesn't, unless you really mean for it to have that many, they're just a small splattering of splatters. You know what I'm saying? It's just a tiny bit. And this just made it look like I was trying to make it snow or something. I don't know. Not happy with it. But oh well, it's done. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm pretty much done with the layout, and the only thing is, I'm going to show you a final picture of it at some point. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, oh, I know what I'm doing. So, I used the end of a paintbrush because there were some spots on that top part that weren't like filled in, and I felt like they needed a little, because if you're gonna go for it, you gotta go for it. And so I felt like the top just needed a couple of more dots. So I used the end of a paintbrush in that stamp pad and just dotted up there where I wanted. And here's a final look at the layout. But like I said, when it went in my book, I tore that crinkled Stampin' Up paper at the bottom off. So now all you can see is that top note paper that's kind of that yellow, and then you see the hex Studio Calico paper, and then that chevron washi tape. So I'm going to go back and use that Stampin' Up paper at some point, but it just didn't work on this layout. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be back a little bit later with another video because I have some catching up to do. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave them below. I again apologize for being absent, but if that ever happens again, you can just log on over. You don't even have to sign up for Twitter. If you just go over and check my page out, it's linked up at the top of my YouTube channel. And I will keep you guys up to date on what's going on with me on Twitter. So thank you guys for watching. I'm glad to be back. I'm looking forward to talking to you all again, and I will see you next time. Bye.